Inner vows are going to be the first topic we cover. And inner vows are one of the wrong ways we respond to hurts or wounds. And an inner vow is like a determination or direction that we decide and we voice in our hearts. And it usually happens in childhood or young adulthood, and then we totally forget about it. Unfortunately, the rest of us does not forget about it. Inner vows determine and trigger responses we have and leave us so that we can't be authentic and respond the way we really want to respond. And we can't be who we really are or who God made us to be. We're basically not free. An inner vow will put us in a ditch on one side or the other and keep us from just walking the middle of the road, for lack of anything better to say. An inner vow can sound good, like I'll be good. I made that determination as a child. My parents were arguing and thinking they were arguing about me, hid in the closet. And when I came out of the closet, I made a vow. I am going to be good. Now that sounds like a really great vow to make, but what it does is it puts me in a place of not being able to get angry, not being able to be sad, not being able to be anything other than what people around me think is good. And that severely limits people. It usually begins with, I will never, or I will always, or all men, or all women, or all whoever are this. And it cuts us off. Those vows cut us off from God and from other people and even ourselves. The thing is, our bodies and our emotions remember it, even if we do not. If you remember my example of all men are adulterous because my father were adulterous, that's a good example of an inner vow. And the reverse of that is women are good because my mom was good, right? And so women are good, men are bad. That's an example of an inner vow. Another one I made is I will never smoke like my mom. Guess what? I didn't smoke for a long time. Hit college, started smoking. It was a many decades long thing that I had to deal with before I could quit because I judged her. Like I said, vows can work either way. For a long time, I didn't smoke and judged other people who did. So it can work either way. So many clients I've had have had abortions when they were young, and they walk out of having an abortion and they will say to themselves, I'll never do that again. And guess what? They don't ever get pregnant again. I've had so many people come to me and they're having infertility problems, and a lot of the times it's because they have had an abortion and they've made that inner determination or inner vow that they will never do that again. And then they get married and they can't get pregnant, and it's because they put that vow or determination into motion, and their body remembers it even though they do not. And your body fulfills that vow. Another one I want to give is an example from Kenneth Hagin's life. He, I think it was his first church that he pastored, and he had to do a funeral, and he didn't know that it was a young man who died who was 30, and he didn't know it, and he was going into the funeral, and he said, okay, God, I'll raise him from the dead if you want. And the Lord just spoke to him and said, things were put into motion a long time ago that can't be reversed. You can't do anything about it. And he did not understand that. But as he went around during the funeral, several young men who were friends of the young man who died kept saying, yeah, he always said, he didn't want to live past 30. He didn't want to live, he didn't want to be old, didn't want to grow old. And Kenneth Hagin looked at it as, he got what he said. In other words, his words determined, which it did. I would go a step further and say it was an inner vow, an inner determination the young man made, and it was totally fulfilled. So these vows are extremely important to break because they can wreck your life.